All right. I am so excited, so honored to have Stefan Winter here on the Move Happy Movement podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I always love to let the audience know, how I'm connecting with such great professionals. Was honored with D-Rock, I believe, from Team Gary V, had posted that his community was looking to get on shows and who would be willing to interview great leaders, and I said absolutely. I'm looking for people that are all about happiness, positivity, and can share some tips and strategies with the audience. So and that was through Twitter, I believe.
Was?
Yeah, so for those that might not be connected to you yet, might not know about you and your background, huge in the real estate industry, why don't you tell a little bit about your story?
Yeah, so, well, the big move happened in 1997 when I was born and raised in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Parents came over. My dad had an opportunity to open up a branch for the company he worked for in Germany, in Chicago, out in the suburbs.
Oh, wow.
And that's how me and my mom came over here too.
Mm-hmm.
My parents moved back in 2007,
Mm-hmm.
which was the year after I finished high school.
Yeah.
At that point, I decided to stay, attempted to go to college, I believe 6 or 7 different times,
Mm-hmm.
but could never make it more than a couple weeks because I felt the information was outdated, especially in the business world.
Yeah.
Moved out to Las Vegas, out of all places,
Nice.
and got a job at one of the new resorts there.
Mm-hmm.
Learned a lot about customer service. They were voted the second best resort in the world,
Ooh.
2009. So learned a lot about customer service and
Yeah.
really kind of going a step above
Mm-hmm.
in service.
I love that.
That led to doing a side job in real estate, and
Mm-hmm.
that was late 2008, early 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Social media was just becoming a thing kind
Yeah.
of for
Mm-hmm.
business.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I dove all into that. Actually, ended up having the first mobile app on smartphones because the iPhone had just come out a year before,
Wow.
and had the first real estate mobile app for the Las Vegas market. It wasn't national or anything, literally just the Las Vegas market.
Mm-hmm.
And things kind of took out off from there in real estate. Uh, I took a different business approach, doing the online lead generation
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to driving people around. I kind of started just generating the leads and converting them to the point where they're ready to buy and sell,
Yeah.
and then refer them out for 20 to 40% of the end
Genius.
commission.
Yeah.
That you can do from anywhere. So I got
Yeah.
licensed in Illinois and Ohio as well.
Nice.
Started doing 3
Awesome.
different states. And that is where business really took off.
Wow.
Did that for several years, and that led to opportunities, as it often does. Had somebody reach out that was in commercial real estate, multifamily,
Mm-hmm.
ask me, does this work in commercial? Me being an honest person, I said, I have no idea. I never tried it.
Yeah.
Kind of came to an agreement on some terms. We tried it. And
Mm-hmm.
as it turns out, there's zero competition in commercial real estate for online
Ooh.
marketing. So as opposed to paying $15 for a keyword on Google, it's like $1.50.
Wow, you're like
And
first to the market with all these things. That's
yeah,
where did you get the inspiration? Where did this come from? From within, from family? Like what? I know my
I,
audience wants to know too.
I tried the college thing, like I mentioned, and it really wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I liked the job at the resort for 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of restricted. And after trying a couple other jobs, I really felt that I do need to run my own show.
Yeah.
Um, Businesses in general, I brought up to several people that, hey, let's do this online thing. It's working.
Yeah.
But, you know, businesses, you don't like to venture into new things early on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I just don't like missing out on opportunities. So I had to go do it on my own.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm sure you've hit a lot of roadblocks along the way and a
Oh,
lot of roller
yes.
coasters in running your own company. So one of the pillars of Move Happy is about mindset and keeping a positive mindset despite, the natural occurrence of stressors that may come our way. Um, so why don't you share some strategies you've learned, or maybe a couple stories if you can think of one, where there were some struggles that you went through?
I mean, there's been a lot of struggles on the way. Business has its ups and downs.
Yep.
Both me and my wife now, we've literally, gone from making $20,000 in a week to having absolutely nothing and getting evicted. So we've seen both ends.
In the
And
spectrum.
the the best advice I have is to really just, you have to keep going. You
Mm-hmm.
can't
Mm-hmm.
give up. There's a lesson in everything. So even though it really might seem absolutely terrible at the time,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in there, there's a lesson that you can now implement and
Mm-hmm.
move past it, get better, go bigger.
Yeah, and probably leaning on your spouse helped a lot as well.
Oh, yes. Obviously, stressful times, it's not always the best, but in the end, they're there for you. So it definitely helps.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Second pillar of Move Happy is about building community, and that you kind of touched on that with your wife. What have you learned in the industry as far as like connecting with other maybe marketers or other real estate professionals that has helped you or has hurt you uh, in the business sector, and some advice that you could share?
Um, I mean, it sounds harsh, but honestly, what I've learned working with a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
there's very few honest people out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
If there's a way somebody can make quick money, a lot
Yeah.
of people are very tempted to take it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's people that try to take advantage of you.
Yep.
And, um, off the top of my head, I can think of people doing the chargebacks on credit cards after build their website or whatever they hired you to do. And
Wow. So that you don't
it's,
get paid?
yeah.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I mean, that's the bad side of business, but for
Yep.
the same amount, there's also a lot of good people that really
Yep.
appreciate you helping them.
Yeah.
And networking is everything, so you have
Yep.
to do it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way to predict it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's that's kind of my take on networking. You just have to keep trying, and
Yeah.
there's bad apples and everything.
Yeah. It sounds like you're saying assume the best, but be careful if there's someone that maybe like in your gut you feel like might not be a good fit to have a part of your circle.
Definitely. And
Awesome.
that goes for life too, business and life.
Yeah, yeah, and it is hard sometimes. I was talking with somebody on Twitter the other day. They were talking about like people copywriting your materials, and
Mm.
how crazy it is that someone might take your copywritten content and pose it as their own.
Oh, yes.
And it's, you never know, maybe someone really needed the money to put your ebook online or put your coaching materials on available as their own, but knowing that those are the kinds of people you don't want to work with, you don't want to be associated
Exactly.
with, and their business will tank very quickly, through reputation, I'm sure. So um, thank you for sharing that. Now, what good experiences have you had with building community with professionals, or what? I mean, obviously, we connected through D-Rock and Team
Yeah.
Gary Vee. Has that been helpful for you, or has there been any other helpful communities?
Definitely. I mean, it goes back to taking the chance, like the commercial real estate business I got into that opened up an entire new branch for, building websites on my
Yeah,
end.
yeah,
Um, if I would have just said, no, I don't do commercial, it would have never happened. And I mean, it turned into a really good business relationship going on 2.5, 3 years now. So that's definitely it. And as far as networking, it's funny that we met on Twitter during these times,
yeah,
because Twitter, if somebody just doesn't understand the platform, it's about as, I don't want to say toxic, but it's not the nicest place. If you just read like the homepage,
Yeah.
the trending topics,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't seem like a happy, good place. But there's a lot of value there in connecting if you just follow the right people.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny you mentioned that too, because I feel like I'm still learning about the platform. I think I created my channel not even like 2 years ago. And the connections that I've been able to make through, I would say honestly, through listening to Gary Vee's audiobook, that really helped
Yep.
me because I was like so new to social media coming into it. But I knew I wanted to focus on mental health. I wanted to focus on positivity and connecting with like-minded professionals. So great tips. Thank you for sharing that. Um, Third pillar of Move Happy obviously is about movement. So, when you're not working, or maybe when you're working, you find yourself on a walk or whatnot. What are your favorite go-to low budget ways to move your body to feel good?
So for the last 8 years, really low budget, pretty much at least once a day and usually twice a day, me and my then girlfriend, now wife,
Mhm.
we always made sure to go for a walk. And
Mm.
again, going back to tough times,
Yeah.
it's, we didn't always have a car,
Yeah.
but even just through the neighborhood, half hour, 45 minutes, just walk, clear the mind, get
Hmm.
fresh air.
Yeah.
Um, that's always been a way. And more recently, we started running in the morning.
Hmm.
Um, I have a good amount of weight to lose, and I still don't like running, but it
Hmm.
feels so good afterwards, doing it outside in the morning. I
Yeah.
just don't like the actual doing it.
Yep.
Great afterwards, though.
Yeah, you like the finished product.
Yeah.
I love it. And those are great, affordable things that anyone can do, really, whether it's walking or running. So thank you for that. And what are you like really excited about? I know you got a move coming up. What's going on in business that you'd like to share with our audience?
So business, I think it was about 18 months, 2 years ago. What I noticed, everything on Facebook, we all have it on the news feeds. If you have anything related to self-employed,
Hmm.
everybody has a course on,
Yeah.
the Facebook magic Facebook formula to make you a millionaire this year. This course,
Yeah.
Bitcoin, drop shipping, everything will make you a millionaire.
Hmm.
And I really got tired of that. And
Yep.
don't get me wrong, um, when I was younger, I wanted to make the millions, but we both kind of took a turn and wanted to focus more on happiness, funny enough. Um, Obviously, still do the business. It'd be nice to have stable, good income,
Yep.
but we don't really want the multi-million-dollar house anymore. Our goal is to buy a farm in Germany, nice old one
Ooh,
to renovate.
love it.
We're actually moving to Germany on September 30th.
Yay.
So simplifying life a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, and I did the same thing with business 18 months ago. Instead of really pursuing trying to sell as many websites or courses as I can,
Uh-huh.
I kind of took a stand and I'm very honest about everything I say, which is a really hard sell. I've lost a lot of business because I tell people I can build you a great website, but you're not going to be a millionaire this year. Or you can buy my course, but it actually takes work of you doing, social media
Yep.
and putting work into it. And it
Yep.
does work. Literally guarantee you it works, but it's going to be a 6 months, year, 18 months long process. And as far as my real estate courses, anybody that does it could be top 40%, top 25% in their market in
Yeah.
2 years, but everybody's selling the secret ad formula to be a millionaire real estate agent this year, and they'd rather buy that course, even though it's twice the price,
Hmm.
but it never ends up working. So I'm just taking a very honest approach, tell people up front, I'll build you a great website, but it's not going to make you a millionaire alone.
Hmm.
Marketing isn't going to make you a millionaire in 3 months. It's going to be a year-long process.
Hmm.
And as far as happiness, again, it helps because you're not going to have people getting mad at you for, saying this and it didn't happen.
Yep.
It's a very easier way of life. So that's kind of the big news in my life from both ends.
I love it. That's exciting. And it's really good to hear someone's story about authenticity and honesty as a business owner because I don't know about you, but I don't do business with people, or I don't want to do business with people that are trying to scam anyone. But it's hard to know when you're not sure about a person. And in order to feel more trust, you can look them up on social media and check out their brand and see how established they are and who they're associated with. So just the fact alone that you're connected with D-Rock and Team Gary Vee, like that already gave me that trust that, yeah, this is going to be a good person to have on my show so that I can promote you to my audience. So I think that's great that you're all about honesty and integrity. That's number one. Those are number one values for me personally. So with that in mind, I know we've got some listeners right now that are hearing this all over the world. If they want to connect with you, what's the best way that they can do that?
If they want some of my free content, they can visit my personal brand website, meetstefan.com, MEET Stefan, STEFAN.com. If they are a business owner, they can visit my website and marketing building company website, which is wintermedia.in.
Love it. Love it. Absolutely love it. And everyone should connect with you on Twitter as well and on your social media channels. And we'll make sure to put the links in when we air this episode. And lastly, I'd love to close out the show. Just, a silly question so our audience can kind of get to know you a little bit better. I'm totally just like thinking, you mentioned your wife. I always love to hear, and I know other ladies I'm sure listening to the show would love to hear how the two of you met. What's the love story?
Well, believe it or not, we are a Match.com success story.
Awesome. I love it. I love it.
We connected because she was studying to become a pilot before we kind of got knocked off track and started pursuing business.
Uh-huh.
So on her profile, it said she was reading a lot of charts. And I had in my profile that I'm a pilot, private pilot. And
Nice.
she actually sent me a message, and the rest is history.
Oh, she did the message first. I love it. That's awesome. Well, thank you again so much for taking the time today to be on the show, Stefan. This has been so fun.
Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely.